For decades, television has been the stage where stars are born, adored, and sometimes worshipped like royalty. But behind the cameras, behind the applause, many of those same stars lived with secrets, scandals, and personal choices that destroyed the very careers they worked so hard to build. Today, we're looking at TV actors who went from beloved household names to disgraced figures the world could no longer admire. Chris Noth seemed untouchable. As the suave Mr. Big in Sex and the City, he stole hearts with every smirk and smooth line. He then cemented his reputation with long stints on Law and Order and The Good Wife. For over 2 decades, Noth wasn't just a star, he was television royalty. But in 2021, when HBO's And Just Like That premiered, everything collapsed. Multiple women came forward with allegations of sexual misconduct, allegations he fiercely denied. What shattered him even further was that his former Sex and the City co-stars publicly stood with his accusers, not with him. Almost overnight, Noth was scrubbed from the new series and dropped from CBS's The Equalizer. Years later, he quietly resurfaced in a low-budget horror movie, but the glittering stardom he once commanded was gone, replaced by silence and shadows. Michael Richards, the man who gave life to Cosmo Kramer on Seinfeld, was once considered comedy royalty. His physical humor and eccentric energy made Kramer one of the most iconic sitcom characters in history. But in 2006, during a late-night set at the Laugh Factory, Richards unraveled. After being heckled, he erupted in a vile, racially charged tirade that shocked everyone in the room. The video spread like wildfire, and suddenly the man who made millions laugh was at the center of public fury. He apologized on The Late Show with David Letterman, but the apology landed awkwardly, even unintentionally comedic. Felt insincere, and audiences weren't ready to forgive. Jerry Seinfeld himself defended him, but the damage was permanent. Richards faded into obscurity, forever remembered less as Kramer and more for the meltdown that ended his career. Lea Michele once embodied the rising starlet. On Glee, her role as Rachel Berry mirrored her real life, talented, ambitious, but also ruthless. Off-screen, her reputation began to sour as co-stars accused her of diva-like, even cruel behavior. In 2020, actress Samantha Marie revealed that Michelle's conduct on set caused her traumatic experiences. Once spoke out, other former castmates piled on, painting a picture of Michelle as a toxic presence. The backlash was swift, and although Michelle issued an apology admitting to immaturity and arrogance, the internet branded her forever as the villain of her own story. Conspiracy theories about her behavior exploded online, making her less of a respected actress and more of a meme. She may have gone on to Broadway, but the shine of her career will always carry the shadow of those accusations. At this point, it's worth pausing and asking, do you believe one scandal should erase a lifetime of work? Or can some celebrities truly redeem themselves? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'm curious to know what you think. Then there's Jussie Smollett. On Empire, he seemed unstoppable, talented, charismatic, and a rising star with music and acting acclaim. But in January 2019, Smollett made headlines claiming to be the victim of a racist and homophobic hate crime in Chicago. The story shocked the nation, until investigators alleged that Smollett staged the entire attack. The scandal spiraled into a courtroom saga. In 2021, a jury convicted him of disorderly conduct, a verdict he appealed. In 2024, Illinois' Supreme Court overturned the convictions on technical grounds, and Smollett quietly reached a settlement. But the public wasn't willing to forgive. Despite clinging to self-produced projects, his mainstream career remains stalled. His name synonymous not with talent but with deceit. Ellen DeGeneres is perhaps the most jarring example on this list. For nearly 2 decades, she ruled daytime TV with The Ellen DeGeneres Show. Her mantra, "Be kind," became a global slogan of positivity. But in 2020, reports emerged of a toxic workplace environment under her leadership. Former employees accused the show of bullying, fear, and even harassment. Suddenly, the Queen of Kindness was being branded as cruel. Ratings plummeted. Ellen delivered an apology, but many viewers felt she dodged responsibility. By 2022, she ended her talk show, walking away from the empire she built. She tried to return to stand-up, but critics shredded her comeback, claiming she leaned on excuses instead of accountability. Once untouchable, Ellen now lives in semi-retirement, uncertain if the public will ever welcome her back. Dean Cain's downfall wasn't about scandal but politics. Known for playing Superman in the 1990s, Cain shocked fans by publicly aligning himself with the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency, better known as ICE. He not only voiced support but even accepted an honorary position. For critics, this was a betrayal. Superman was supposed to stand for justice and compassion, not support controversial raids that tore families apart. Celebrities like John Leguizamo and Margaret Cho mocked him openly, while late-night hosts ridiculed him for clinging to relevance. But Cain didn't retreat. He doubled down, defending his stance on national television. While some conservatives praised him, the larger entertainment industry turned its back, leaving him a pariah in Hollywood. Roseanne Barr, once celebrated for her groundbreaking sitcom about working-class life, destroyed her career in a single tweet. In 2018, she posted racially offensive remarks about former Obama advisor Valerie Jarrett. The outrage was immediate. ABC canceled her newly revived Roseanne within hours, killing off her character and continuing the show without her under the new title The Conners. Roseanne tried to defend herself, insisting her words were misunderstood, even saying, "I thought she was white." But her apologies rang hollow, and her refusal to truly accept blame cemented her downfall. Today, Barr lives on the fringe of entertainment, remembered not for her comedic brilliance but for the racist tweet that silenced her career. Charlie Sheen's implosion became a global spectacle. In 2011, after being fired from 2.5 Men, he went on a media rampage filled with bizarre rants about tiger blood and Adonis DNA. His interviews became viral sensations, his catchphrase winning a cultural joke. Sheen reveled in the chaos, flaunting drug use, boasting of his escapades with adult film stars and glamorizing self-destruction. But the spectacle came at a cost. He lost his career, his reputation, and nearly his health. Years later, after being diagnosed with HIV, Sheen finally slowed down, working towards sobriety and stability. But the scars of his public implosion remain. To many, he'll always be the wild man who set fire to his own career. Danny Masterson, once beloved as Hyde on That 70s Show, faced a darker fate. In 2017, multiple women accused him of sexual assault. He denied the allegations, but Netflix quickly fired him from the ranch, and his agency dropped him. The accusations grew into a criminal trial, and in 2023 he was convicted and sentenced to 30 years to life in prison. His downfall also pulled others into the controversy. Co-stars Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis faced public outrage for writing letters of support during his trial. What was once nostalgia for a beloved sitcom character is now stained by the reality of Masterson's crimes. And finally, Bill Cosby. For decades, he was America's dad, the face of The Cosby Show, a sitcom that broke cultural barriers and shaped generations. But beginning in 2014, after comedian Hannibal Buress reignited past allegations, a tidal wave of over 60 women accused Cosby of sexual assault. His carefully crafted image as a moral icon shattered. In 2018, he was convicted and sentenced to prison. Though his conviction was overturned in 2021 on a technicality, Cosby's reputation is permanently destroyed. Once revered for representing family values, he is now a symbol of betrayal and hypocrisy, his legacy buried under the weight of his crimes. From Chris Noth to Bill Cosby, these stars remind us that fame can be fragile, and trust once broken is nearly impossible to repair. Television gave them their platforms, but their own actions or inactions ensured their downfall. And as history has shown, the court of public opinion is one stage where redemption rarely comes easily.